Time for baritone class. We are live and I'm going to run over and post the link on jollyrogerukulele.com. We will start in about 3 minutes. So if you're watching the recording, you can absolutely fast forward and you won't miss a thing other than everybody loading in. If you want to sit and listen to me, here's the story behind what we're working on. I am building a introduction to baritone ukulele program that is fundamentally identical to my ukulele program. The difference will only be that you're in a different key on baritone ukulele, and you got to be a tiny bit smarter when you're on baritone ukulele because you're going to end up playing with regular ukulele players. And when you do that, you're going to end up having to transpose a lot of the music that we do. And so you're going to want to be at least knowledgeable about keys and transposing and this type of stuff. And that's one of the areas that we work on in baritone ukulele. Today we are playing Home on the Range. We're still in sort of the mid-level work that we have to do on baritone to get you functioning at a high enough level where we can really turn people's mind around about this instrument. This is one of those instruments that's a little bit it's just not a particularly popular instrument. And it should be, because it's awesome and it's got a nice tone, easy to play, not too bad to hold on to, and easy enough to carry around. Generally speaking, most of us who play this instrument aren't going on to guitar. That's originally part of what they wanted to do with this was, and it was typical in England back in the 50s, to teach little boys on this first before they graduated them to guitars. And that's never been happened in America. Really, that's why everybody quits guitar too, is it's just too hard. And if they started on this and then learned how to play, it'd be better, but that's not how it was. So, hey Vic, sound is good. Jack says, aloha, time for my favorites of the 6 instruments. Jack's playing all of the instruments. He's going to start his very own one-man band, and he's playing everything. This is a tremendous instrument. It sounds quite a lot like a guitar, not quite as good as a guitar because you don't have those very, very low, deep, beautiful bass notes. But because those are gone, this is obviously quite a bit easier to play, and so you're going to sound better because you play it better. It's easier to play. I am in the middle of, we're having a terrible day with the smoke being blown in from a fire up north. And my eyes are absolutely on fire. And I keep thinking it must be something to do with my glass. But it is just living in this toxic environment is what's going on. And we've got all the windows closed and we got the fan running to suck up the air through the filters and stuff. Still, my eyes are just on fire. So if I do weird stuff like start weeping openly in the middle of the class, know that it's not your playing that's causing me to cry. It's the horror of living in 2020. Let's see. Terry made it in. Terry's here. Terry knows. He will agree. His eyes are burning up too. He lives down the street. Michelina, happy baritone time to you. Glad you're here. Valerie tried to run out, grab a Starbucks, and run back, and they stopped her by putting a train in front of her. That's why we need those cars, the flying cars. You know, you get a train. You're like, there's a train there. That's all. We don't need the flying car to fly everywhere, just over obstacles. I know, Valerie. It's too many classes. No, what am I doing? I'm sitting around playing music all day. Come on. This is. Look at me. I got my logo shirt, which I don't know what I'm selling, but I like them. And then I have a cup of coffee. I get to playing out with you lovely people. We're going to play baritone ukulele. We're going to play cowboy music. I mean, seriously, that's a pretty good life. Linda, glad you're back. Banjo is over. She's out living her life. We got to stop that. Same problem today with the spaghetti is bad today. Yeah, I don't know. I think last week when we were having the really heavy stuff, it felt bad as well. It looked bad, but today it just really, I don't know if it's just coming more directly or it's a different part of the forest on fire or what, but boy, it's really, really, I'm even having a little bit of challenge breathing and all this stuff. It's just awful. And of course, I can't imagine those of you guys that are up north, like Vic there in Eugene. I mean, geez Louise, it's just terrible. So, what are we going to do? Right now, we're going to play some baritone. We're going to play Home on the Range. We're going to hope the range doesn't catch on fire. We're going to just enjoy being a part of a musical experience here, and we're going to hope it gets better. So let's get going. I think everybody's loaded in. We have a wonderful piece of music and one of my favorite arrangements. I just think this sounds so nice on a 4-stringed instrument. And guys, guess what? It sounds even better on this one than it does on ukulele, and I love it on ukulele. So let's make sure we got the basics. D, G, B, E, dark, gloomy baritones explode. Make sure you're in tune. Main chord on this one is a D chord. So index finger here, middle finger here, ring finger there. Oh, give me a, and you gotta move on that A to the A7 on home, and sorry, not that A7, this A7. So you're gonna go, oh, give me a home. Okay, get into baritone brain, Gary. Go, give me a home. That's what you're gonna be doing there. Where the, grab your G chord, buffalo, little G minor here, roam, and the nice G chord here, deer and the E7, antelope, A7, play 2, 3, 1, 2, where D chord, seldom is heard. A discouraging, nice G minor here, word. And the D chord, skies are not filled with smoke, all G chord, D chord, day 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. On those long notes, especially when you're don't have anything else going on, make sure you're counting them because you will come in too early. And the skies are not cloudy all day. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You really do have to count them or you really will come in too early. Okay, measure 17. D chord again. Home, A7, the bar chord version. Home on the range. 2, 3, 1, 2. Where the B minor, this is, I don't know if we've run into this one yet in this class or not. I don't think so. Index finger here, middle finger here, ring finger there. Deer, isn't that beautiful? Deer and the E7, antelope, play 2, 3, 1, 2. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word. That's just that little bar chord again. And the skies are not cloudy all day. 2, 3, 1, 2. And then it's going to go, oh, and then you're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the song. Second time through, we skip measures 31 and we play into 32. Let's talk about that. Play measure 32. Skies are not cloudy all day. 2, 3. And then I've got this fancy, if you look down the tough uke line, we've got the fancy D chord. It's a bar on 7 and your pinky up here on 10. Okay, and that's your high D chord. And that's going to come every time you're playing in D, and you're going to play in D a lot because you're baritone players, and it sounds really nice on this instrument. And a lot of guitar music is written in D, and all Irish music is written in D. So there's a ton of music in D out there, and so you want to know without thinking about it. I'm playing in D, I sing my song, and then I end up with the high D to wrap it up. And just sounds really pretty. You got a nice D note sitting right there. Just going to always sound really, really fun when you're playing in the key of D to end on that high D chord. Okay, so those are your chords. Let's go ahead and sing it real quick. Just one time through, not twice. Let's just do it the one time through. I would suggest on a cowboy tune like this, less can be more. You could do it fast. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. But that feels like too much, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't feel cowboy-y when you do it that way. So something simpler. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. Something simple, maybe just one strum per beat. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. That sounds pretty good. Possibly a 3-note pattern on an arpeggio would be something like this. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. So you see, I'm just doing 1, 2, 3 with this hand, and then just making sure I have the right chord on here. That's a possibility. You can do a boom chuck too. Boom chuck chuck, boom chuck chuck. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, and the deer and the antelope play. So that's very cowboy-y. It's probably too cowboy-y, in my opinion. But again, you're looking at right-hand ideas after you figure out your chords. So pick one that you think is going to go well for you. Usually here in class, when you're hanging out with me, just 1, 2, 3 is going to work out pretty good every time. Let's give it a try. By the way, dropped my baritone the other day. Big old gash right there. My fault. It didn't crack it open, but don't do that. It's not good for your instruments. From the top, one time through. 1, 2. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, and the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Okay. Those are your chords. I missed measure 25. That A7 came by faster, and I fell asleep on the D chord, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be on A7, and then by then the moment has passed. If you find out when you've got a song that you've got these 1-beat chords, and sometimes it's just easier to skip them if you know you're going to blow them. Obviously, you'd like to get them. You'd like to have, there's the D, 1, 2. Sounds better. But if you miss them, you miss them. And don't put yourself in a position where you're like, gosh, I got to get every single chord. You don't. It'll happen where you miss a chord here or there or often. Get your main chords. Make sure your beat number 1 is where you need to have the chord correct. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. The first beat of every measure is where it's important to have the chord right. Other than that, it's all decoration. You'd love to have them all, but sometimes you just can't get them all. Let's run through the melody. You've got some 2s, you got some 3s, you got some 5s. I believe that's all of them. That's it. So when you don't have any ones and you have some fives, it's a lot smarter to play in second position. This will be your twos, this will be your threes, and your fives are right here. Now everything's under your fingers, and you don't need to move this hand at all. It's going to make you a faster melody player. Okay, let's give it a try. From the top, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Back to the top. 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Nice tune. Lovely melody to it. Okay. So now we got the chords. Now we have the melody. You could go and you could play a duet with anybody in the world. They give them a baritone. You play the melody. They play the chords. Everybody's happy. You end up with a really nice thing. You have a beer. So, however, you're a baritone player and nobody else that you know owns a baritone. And you can play with guitar players, right? You can take this music and give it to them. They know these chords. They know A7 chords. They know G chords. They probably don't know their G minor, but you could teach them. And they know all these other chords in here. And you can play with them. Also, most ukulele players don't know their G minors and their B minors, but they know the rest of these. And so you could play along with the ukulele player. They play the chords and you play the melody. And again, their chord shapes are different. So they're going to see D, they're going to see that shape and think G, but you're like, no, don't play a G chord, play a D chord. And that's their shape for them. Okay, then they can play those chords, you play the melody, and it sounds great. Now, typically the opposite of that happens, right? Typically, the ukulele players play the melody because they just that higher pitch of that instrument. It works really well as a melody instrument, and then you end up being the chord person. And that really works well because you've got that nice, deep, rich bass come lower pitched ukulele and they have the higher pitched ukulele, and the two of you end up sounding really nice. But you'd have to play from their sheet music when that happens because they need the tablature, and then you've got to get good at looking at their D chord will look like this, and you're like, nope, that's ukulele D chord. I play this chord for the D chord, this shape to make a D chord. That's why you guys have to be smarter than those guys. You have to know how to know all of your shapes when you're staring at an ukulele piece of sheet music. You're fine if you play with guitarists, but guitarists have a funny way about them, and they're not necessarily super excited to play with baritone players because they think you're cheating, right? And on a tiny bit, you are. You're getting this lovely, beautiful, wonderful guitar-like sound without having to work near as hard, and they find you suspicious. You'll never need a capo, and they always need a capo. So not always. Some of them can really play, but just know that you're in this nether world where you're not really sure where you belong. Let's run through the tough uke and then we'll play through and we'll be done for the day. Okay, so we kill it around here, right? Grab your D chord. When we do tough uke, first chord you usually are going to hold perfectly, at least to get started. And sure enough, you're going to play a 2, and you're going to play another 2, and you're going to play a 3. You're holding down a 3, you're holding down this one, and you got to play a 0 there. So you're going to lift up your middle finger, hit the 0, and then put it right back down. Nice strum here, measure 2, 0, 2, 3, 2. Isn't that beautiful? 2, 3. You already got the 3 down, so then let's pull it back to get the 2. Zeros. And then G chord. And my habit is to go ahead and to pull this off and go with a ring, my index finger here. It's not against the rules to drop your ring finger up to do that. It's just, I don't know. I don't find it as comfortable or reliable as to just go put this on here. I feel a lot more confidence with my bar here than my ring. And so either of those are 6. So you can even use your middle finger if you want. But I do know I have one baritone player, advanced baritone player, uses all of his different fingers for bars at whatever time. It's pretty effective. It just looks weird. So I have a tendency to go with the standard issue G minor here. Okay, then 2, 3. G chord, D chord with your pinky on 5. Again, we got to stretch it out. 2 3s. Slide your index finger back to get 0, 1, 3. Remove your ring finger and change it to your middle finger. Put your ring finger back. You could slide it. So you could do, if you want to get a little bit of a zoom, it sounds kind of cool. And then measure 7, 2, 0, 2, 0, 0, 2, 0. You're holding all that down. Now you've got to move your index finger down 1 to get the 2 underneath where. So that last note of measure 8, you got to make an adjustment, and which is fine because you got to be putting your D chord on anyway. So hit that 2, the 3, hit the 0 by lifting your middle finger up, a full D chord strum, 3, 2, and then opens the G chords, the G minor. Like that one, love that one a little extra long. It's a big moment in the song, right? It doesn't fit. 2 3s, D chord, middle finger up, hit the 3, A7. Oh, there's a typo there. Sorry, guys. I sometimes happens. That 0 on the top of the 202 should not be there. So on that measure 14, the 0 on there should not be there. So you're going to have to take that out. That's a typo. Then hit the 3, hit the 0, and then hit a D chord. 2, 3, and then these are just plain old D chords. Okay, let's move on to page 2. D chord, pinky on 5 again. Hit 2, 3. Regular A7, you've got the picture of it up above major 18. It's just a full bar chord with your middle finger on the 3. Then lose your middle finger, and lose your bar, and go measure 19. Put your D chord on. 2, 3, 2. Got to hit 2 twice here. Now go to your B minor. 0, 4, 3. Go ahead and plant your 2 here just because it's easier to remember. Okay, and you're going to rest stroke there anyway. 0, 4, 3. Now I'm going to pick up my ring finger and I'm going to move my index finger to 1. I'm going to just make a big stretch there since my finger's already on that melody note. I don't want to move it. Slide it back, slide it forward, and then a nice A7, O to O. Okay, and then again, you've got to move your index finger down to get the 2. Put your D chord on, open, nice strum on 26, 3, 2, slide it back, the zeros, then grab your 3s, G minor, a couple more 3s, major 29 is a D chord, middle finger up, and a nice 2, 0, 2, 0. Again, we don't need that 0 on the top. I made the same type. I bet you I copy pasted is what I did. Okay, get rid of that. I will repost this, guys, so that you don't have to worry about actually fixing those yourself. Okay, hit the 3, hit the 0, and measure 31, D chord. And then that 2 is your lead in to repeat the song. And if you are on measure 33, as if it's the second time through, same idea. And then jump up and grab that bar. Okay, so that's the second time through. All right, so we had 2 typos we found, measure 30 and measure 14. Just don't play that top 0 on those and you'll sound fine. And then I will fix that and repost it so that you have clean sheet music. Let's go and play this song top to bottom. 1, 2. To the top. How'd we do? Oh, Tanya, that's kind of what I do as a tough uke, right? I teach all the other ways, but I don't really care about them, right? Like, tough uke is where it's happening, guys. If you go and you watch Eric Clapton play, when he finally shuts up his mouth like he should, he's playing tough uke. When you go watch Jake Shimabukuro play, he doesn't typically sing, he's playing tough uke. If you watch Carlos Santana play, he's playing tough uke. Um, these when you watch Jimmy Page play the introduction to Stairway to Heaven, he's playing tough uke. That's all it is. They play it faster. The chords are weirder. They're plugged into an amplifier, but that's what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. And so that's what I want you to be able to do. And the longer you spend doing it, the easier and faster you can play, the weirder chords you can tackle, the more beautiful and the more depth you can get to all of the music that you're working on. And it's not to take away from the other ways of playing. I make fun of it, but the other ways of playing are very important. If you are in an orchestra situation where you're playing with a bunch of different instruments, being able to play melody, the speed will pick up when you're in those situations. Even when you're playing with me, you probably feel a little bit rushed, even though I'm trying to keep the speed down. That business of being able to play the melody at a faster and faster and faster rates of speed is important. And then, of course, I know Tanya, you have told me, you back in the day, which was yesterday when you were in college. There are a lot of baritones that were floating around the place. You typically would sing and strum, right? And which is, again, a very, very normal way to play this instrument. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. But because I don't sing, and when I do sing, I wish that I didn't. It's that way of playing doesn't necessarily work for me. But if I can get some other players together that are going to do the singing, or maybe some other players that play melody, and then I do the strumming, the baritone is a perfect solution for that as well. So I think there are lots of different ways to play, of course, but I think the grown-up way, when you're sitting around the house, you're stuck in the house day after day, you want to be your own band. You want to do everything, and that's where that tough uke comes into play, where you don't need anybody except you and your instrument and a glass of wine, and you've got everything in life that you could possibly want. Turn your phone off, turn the TV off, turn the darn YouTube and Zoom off, and just play. And that's what I believe in at the end of the day with the instruments that we work on. Most of us are not going to be playing on the stage up at Red Rocks, and most of us that we don't need to be. We have our own little mini stage here at our houses, and so hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully, just by showing up and kind of playing with me, hopefully that's what you're doing. You're figuring out, okay, I can keep up with him when I'm playing melody, but I can't do it when I'm doing tough uke, or I'm playing chords better than him. He's screwing them up all the way through, or whatever you're doing. But you're finding different ways to play with me. I'm serving as kind of a metronome. Hopefully, not I don't suck quite as much as a metronome, but giving you a sense of, hey, I gotta play in time and in rhythm, and hopefully kind of push you just a little bit to be like that as well. So that's all I know about Home on the Range. I'm very excited. I got your key of G arpeggio posted. So I want you guys to go grab that off the website today and get started looking through that. The big thing with that piece of music is you are not going to be playing it with your thumb for the most part. On tomorrow's piece of music, you're not going to play it with your thumb. You are going to play it with this thumb, plucking it like this. But you're going to be playing this. That's how you're going to be playing that. And so go ahead and get it printed out. What we're not going to be doing is, because our thumb isn't fast enough to play the whole thing by itself. So we got to get the other fingers involved, and we'll be working on that tomorrow. So tomorrow we dive deeply into arpeggio playing. And Um, I have 30 of these for ukulele. I only have one right now for you for baritone, but I will give you the other intro level ones. You'll get three altogether in this intro level, and then we'll talk about the decision making going forward about doing the rest of them. I do think playing arpeggios is the one thing that will make you sound like a whole bunch better player than you might happen to be at any given time, especially if you are a singer and you like playing the chords. This wears thin pretty quickly, but you can do a lot smarter stuff with your right hand that you can spend the rest of your life with. Dolly Parton is the perfect example of that. She has very simplified chords over here, and if she was just always playing the same thing over here, we would get tired of listening to her, but has a very smart way of doing her right hand to really bring some beauty into the music that she does. So I'm going to teach you how to do that tomorrow. And that's it. That's all I know. All right. Michelina says she's super excited about arpeggios. I am too. I love them. I think that they are honestly the solution to making you sound really, really nice. Some of you were in earlier and listened to Can't Help Falling in Love on the ukulele. All I'm doing is tossing in arpeggio patterns between the main notes. I'm not doing anything that requires any thought. I'm just holding the chord and adding in a few little doodly doos, but it ends up making the piece of music sound incredible, even though what I'm doing is fairly formulaic. So that's that. Yeah, you'll learn a lot by doing those tomorrow. Okay, gang, you're the baritone players of the world. I expect you to go forth and be great ambassadors for our instrument. And I will see all of you tomorrow. And we'll just keep moving forward. And obviously, toss me emails. I am as always behind on emails, but I do work at catching up on them. If you have something you need or something you want to talk about, I do read every email. I don't necessarily have time to respond to all the emails. So I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and Terry and I are going to go put our gas masks on so we can breathe, and I will send Vic as well. I know it's terrible up there, so you guys be good, be safe, not be good, do good, do good. That's the word I'm looking for. Do good, be safe, practice a little bit. Okay, it's good for you. And keep showing up here. I promise you'll be great players if you keep showing up. I really do promise that. It's a money back guarantee. And I'll see all you guys tomorrow, huh? Thanks, Vic. Thanks, Terry. Michelina, be good. Who else is Tanya? Good to see you. I'm so delighted when Tanya's been a baritone player a long time. It's excited to have her. Linda, good to see you. It does get easier. It never gets easy. That's the problem with baritone brain and ukulele brain. That's why most people end up picking one or the other. Once you've gone to baritone, you usually are stuck with baritone forever. I don't have too many baritone players that go back. Baritone brain's a good place to be, though. So, all right, guys. Jack, I'll see you later. Vic, Terry, I think I said everybody. Anybody else hiding out up here? You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see all of you tomorrow.